So what if I told you that a kangaroo, an animal that's been on a totally separate evolutionary path from us for over 130 million years, has a secret weapon that's, well, almost identical to our own? Today, we are diving deep and unpacking the ancient and seriously sophisticated immune system of the kangaroo.
To really wrap your head around this, we have to go way, way back. I'm talking 130 million years ago. Dinosaurs were still a thing. Back then, the mammalian family tree had this massive split. One branch led to marsupials, like kangaroos, and the other became placental mammals, like us. That's a mind-boggling amount of time to be evolving separately.
And you gotta wonder, right? With that huge time gap, after going down completely different roads for so long, how did we each figure out how to fight off disease? Is it possible that nature somehow landed on the exact same solution twice?
Okay, so our investigation is going to start with our main subject, the eastern gray kangaroo. And we're going right to the front lines of its immune system, its gut. This is ground zero, where the body first meets a ton of potential threats from the outside world. Now, at the center of this whole mystery is something called gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT for short. Honestly, the easiest way to think about GALT is like this super advanced security system that lines the inside of the gut. It's constantly scanning for dangerous germs in everything the kangaroo eats and drinks.
And any good security system needs its specialists. In the immune system, we're looking for two key players. First, you've got the T cells. Think of them as the commanders. They spot the threats and direct the whole attack. Then you've got the B cells, who are the weapon makers. They're the ones producing the specific antibodies you need to take out an invader.
So, the researchers had a really clear mission: find these commanders and weapon makers inside the kangaroo's gut. But the real question was, where would they be, and how would they be organized? Well, the clues they uncovered were pretty remarkable.
So the first big clue turned up in the mesenteric lymph nodes. These things act like critical security checkpoints. They filter all the fluid coming from the gut, screening it for any sign of trouble before it gets into the rest of the body.
And inside these checkpoints, what they found was just amazing. The T-cell commanders were stationed in their own specific areas, while the B-cell weapon makers were all clustered together in others. This wasn't just a random mess of cells. It was a highly organized, military-like command structure. And the wildest part? The layout was almost identical to what we find in our own bodies.
From there, the investigation moved right into the gut lining itself. And just beneath the surface, they found the next clue. These organized clusters of immune tissue, they're called lymphoid follicles, that were basically embedded in the gut wall like tiny barracks. And again, just like in the lymph nodes, the organization was incredible. The T cells and the B cells were positioned in very specific, strategic spots inside these follicles, totally ready to launch a coordinated defense against anything trying to break through the gut wall.
So the main takeaway here is just stunning. And this is a direct quote from the research. These observations are consistent with what we see in placental mammals. Just let that sink in. After 130 million years of evolving on separate continents, both of our lineages came up with the exact same playbook for gut defense. That's just an incredible example of what we call convergent evolution.
But just when you think, okay, case closed, the story takes this really fascinating turn. The picture gets a whole lot more interesting when we start comparing the kangaroo to some of its other marsupial relatives.
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. Scientists looked at two major groups of marsupials. You've got the ones that are mostly carnivorous, like an opossum, and then you have the herbivores, like our kangaroo. And a really clear pattern popped out. The meat eaters, their gut immune cells were kind of scattered and disorganized. But the plant eaters, they had those highly organized structures we were just talking about. All of a sudden, diet starts to look like a major piece of this puzzle.
And this observation led the researchers to a brilliant new hypothesis. See, a plant-based diet just bombards an animal's gut with a massive variety of foreign molecules, or antigens, every single day. So the idea is, what if that relentless pressure from all those plant antigens was the evolutionary force that actually forged such a sophisticated, highly organized immune system in the first place?
All right, so what does this all add up to? Let's put all the pieces together and figure out the final verdict on the kangaroo's secret weapon.
So, to wrap this all up, the eastern gray kangaroo's immune system is not primitive at all. Its gut defenses are incredibly advanced, and in this just beautiful example of convergent evolution, they look a whole lot like ours. But the real twist here is that what's on the menu might be the reason why.
It really seems like an animal's dinner plate could be a powerful engine driving the evolution of its most essential defenses.
This is just such a perfect reminder that nature can be incredibly clever, often arriving at the same brilliant solution from totally different starting points. It really makes you wonder, if we share a defensive playbook with a kangaroo, what other common ground, what other hidden biological secrets are just waiting to be discovered in the animals all around us?